Well, so I love when, I kind of officially have new people here because we're always all beginners. We're always kind of circling back, and it's like a kind of a weaving in. It's not like we study something and like, well, we've clearly mastered that. Let's move on. That there's always repetition. This is how we just deepen our understanding of what we're doing and how to free ourselves of tension. Like, there's nothing I'm going to do. There's no magic of what I'm going to do or say that's going to um, free you of your stress or your tension, but I am going to guide you so that what you are, where you're bringing your awareness or um, is it might be a little different than your normal habits. So I'm kind of guiding you to move past like your own habit energy of where you get stuck and therefore out of balance, we could say. So we usually start this class just by being aware that we have a body, and you might sit in a way or position yourself in a way that we use the word upright, but to me, uprightness is more of like I'm aware of my body and it's in a position where I'm not, feeling really tight. Like if I have to sit up really, that it's also kind of relaxed. I like to use the words aware or alert, like you feel alert. You know how you can kind of feel like, yes, I'm present, I'm here, and I feel it in my body, I'm right here. But I'm also just relaxed. And we're taking this 45 minutes. So give yourself this time. Put down everything else. And you might start. So we'll start by just feeling whatever is touching the earth or the floor. Maybe you feel your feet or your seat, or there's part of your body that's touching something and you sense that grounding. Well, sometimes call this pre-meditation, like we're just feeling into this present experience. You might take a few deeper breaths. Sometimes that helps. Just, ah, I'm giving myself this time. I can feel like this is what it feels like to not move, have to go anywhere. It's kind of settled in. And then as you feel the breath flowing, you could just sense how maybe like your throat is relaxed or your face is softening or relaxed. So we're grounding, we're just letting ourselves kind of touch the ground. Like, yes, here. And as we notice our surroundings, or you might notice what sounds are around you, you hear anything, or maybe the room that you're in. We don't have to be distracted by anything we see. Yeah, just taking this time because we can really have habits of just um, going and going and getting things done and doing the next thing. I got to get stuff done. I got to get stuff done. And so we're free of that. I'm really interested. What does it feel like to just let go of what we could call tension or tightness. So, feeling of being relaxed. This relaxation is not sleepiness. We say the mind stays alert, then we're awake, bright. You might even almost like lift your chest a little bit, or ah. So there's the breath moving. And truly, if your mind is really busy, it might help to do like a little bit deeper breath where you can just feel the inhale, feel the exhale. I'm right here. I'm right here. There's a letting go of the past, a letting go of the future, all of that, any tendency to worry, just putting that down. All the reoccurring memories, just putting that down. So we're going to take in the sound of the bell and we're going to do just a 5-minute silent meditation. You might sense a settling, grounding. Relaxed, alert. Keeping this really simple, like this is just what it feels like to stop. Stopping, it's very natural. So sometimes this first grounding practice is where we just kind of assess or feel into how things are today. I've been using this phrase, Jenny and I use this phrase a lot, like, oh, this is how it is now. Right now, like how your body physically feels, your like the quality of your mind, or even your mood, how you're feeling. It's good. Like this is just a really kind thing to do, is to stop and ask yourself, like, honey, how you doing? Just tell me what's going on. And so we really just feeling into that. And then we usually move into some kind of instruction or some of the teachings that these are usually teachings of the Buddha, and people then practicing these teachings. And so I like to always share like little stories or um, so two things that I'm going to share today is how it's really said that when when the Buddha had his insights of how to be free of suffering or tension or anxiety, he noticed that it is our nature, like to look for happiness, to seek happiness. And he said the main thing we do is that we look for happiness in sense pleasures. He called them sense pleasures. The endless pursuit of I want. And sense pleasures are like all of the things we sense, we taste, we hear, we see, how we feel. I want a really soft blanket. I don't want the scratchy one. And then it's endless to get that right blanket. Like, oh, this one. No, no, I don't want that blanket. I want that one. And on and on. Or food, like, well, I don't want that. I want this. And he just noticed that we get caught up thinking like that's like we'll actually find it, like we'll find happiness in these sense pleasures. So we get really, it's almost a delusion, of like, if I just get this one thing, then I'll be happy. Or our body, if my body is perfectly healthy, then I'll be happy. If I'm free and if I don't have any pain in my body, then I'll be happy. Um, so he noticed this, and I mean, it's funny because even our culture now, it just really thrives on this. I mean, Amazon.com thrives on this. Like there's no end. Now I want this, and now I added this to my Amazon cart or whatever. It's like, and I think they sell everything at this point, don't they? Like anything you want, there it is, and you can get it maybe in a couple hours. So they feed on this very specific thing that the Buddha, like hundreds of years ago, noticed. Like we just, um, and it just feels natural. It's like our nature to get caught up in this wanting and craving. So, if we do experience the opposite, if we experience like pain in the body, we want it gone, right? We want it out of there. In fact, even our whole medical, you know, system is when you go to a doctor, they're going to help you, try to get rid of your pain, right? I mean, how many doctors are going to say, you know, I think you're just going to have to live with this? I mean, that doctor would be brought into question almost. Like, that's why they'll, offer pills. They'll like they feel like they have to offer you something. rather than saying, well, you know what, pain is kind of part of being human. Now, I know there's a balance there. I'm not saying, there's no such thing, you shouldn't do anything about your pain. But it's almost difficult to hear these words of the Buddha saying, well, there's going to be pain. And eventually you will experience pain in your body. Or sometimes even there's someone in our family or we live with someone else who's really experiencing pain. And it's like we're with that person also. And that's part of our pain and suffering or, like that. So one remedy, and I'm going to share just a little tidbit from this book I've been sharing from, which is How to Be Sick by Toni Bernhard. Now, this is just from her chapter. So Toni was basically bedridden by her chronic illness. And she would notice pretty much these impulses of, wanting something. And what she would do is she would notice that craving. And so she would recognize, like, oh, I really want this. And she said she would play with this a little bit of flipping this. So, like, instead of I want this, she would kind of reflect on, well, how could I give? How could I open to being generous? So I'm going to read just one example of this. She said, here's an example. If my 2 children haven't been in touch for a while, as soon as the thought arises, why don't they contact me? I immediately contact them. So instead of allowing that thought, why don't they contact me, to spin out into the many absurd storylines it could take. They'd like me better if I weren't sick. I bore them. I would flip this and contact them. She said sometimes she would force herself to do this. And then she said the results were always uplifting and never failed to alleviate the suffering brought about by the proliferation of thoughts that weren't true. When I contact my children, we talk about what they've been up to. We share common experiences. They may seek my advice. And she said, it always becomes clear as we're talking that they've been thinking about me. So this is an example of how the mind can do this to us, this craving, like, why is this not happening? I want my children to call me. And well, she noticed it's not true that they don't want to call her. And so she would say, I'm going to get, in this case, I'm going to call them. And such a simple thing can be so powerful, and really difficult to flip something like this. So could we reflect on this as just that little story of the ways that we feel ourselves wanting or craving things to be different? And what if we played with, so for example, like physical pain in the body. If you're noticing, like, oh my gosh, I want this pain to be gone. And if we flip, so what we're doing right here is a generous act where you give yourself attention and love and care. It's called compassion. Like, oh, honey, yeah, this is hard, living with this pain. And so there's this soothing, or anxiety feels like this in my body. I'm going to give just compassion, just giving yourself attention. And sometimes we even notice areas like, well, I do have a certain measure of health right now. Like you wouldn't be in this class if you didn't. So as we move into our next meditation now, we're going to explore even a feeling of kindness or compassion. I care about this pain or this suffering. And that's all. I don't need it in a way or fixed, like I'm going to meditate it gone. But rather just being with yourself in a kind way. So go ahead and position, maybe slightly moving or repositioning and just feeling. Yeah, this is how my body feels, how my state of my mind, my mood right now. But I'm going to practice opening to it. Actually, remember Matt Sanford giving this teaching about it all starts by opening to it. So getting to know yourself. Does it help to just take some deeper breaths? Relax or soften your face. There's the skin on your face. It's relaxing. And there's a softening. Maybe your lips, relaxing or softening your lips or your throat or like right now we're not acting on these, this craving for more. Just here. So what if we appreciated just the fact that you're here? You have this measure of physical health, mental health to be here. And possibly bring awareness to your belly. And just bringing awareness to different areas around the body. This is your home. Soften or relax deep in your belly. You're going to feel like your shoulders just relaxing down. When you soften around your eyes, it's almost a way of like just seeing things clearly with understanding eyes. There's really just no end to this feeling of relaxing or letting go, along with the deepening of your interest as you feel your own presence. Because we have a tendency to want things, want the next thing. It's good to pause and notice what we have. It flips the focus, and we appreciate. And how you can give. This is an act of generosity, of giving your attention to yourself in a kind way. And simple words like, I'm practicing letting go, like even just a little bit. This is how it works, like drop by drop, a little bit softening. But this letting go is moving more fully, really into this present experience, kind of savoring it. Part of being with your body, being with yourself is listening. We could notice how you can listen to sounds around you. Actually, like the ears hearing. But there's also listening within, like when you listen to your own body, the body doesn't use words, rather you're feeling, you listen to the body by feeling deeper and deeper. It can be quite an exploration, like, oh, I'm feeling my toes, feeling my forearms, my neck, feeling into areas where really isn't any pain. I always go back to this like, relaxed. The mind is bright and alert. We balance out those feelings or the energy of grounding, relaxed, and kind of a brightness. You might even take a couple minutes to even come up with, notice what words you could say to yourself. What do you need to hear from yourself right now? This can, kindness can be challenging. So I thought it was very sweet. The other day I heard a teacher who said at the end of his practice, especially in a class like this, it's 45 minutes. He said at the end you could take a victory lap and just appreciating, like, yeah, I stayed here for the whole time, and we're seeing how this is, it's challenging to do this full stop. Maybe it's good to see how we want to like rate our experience or judge. That was a successful sit or that was not a successful sit, or we just appreciate that we are here no matter what. Oh, thank you for being here, everyone. And